He was once described as the boy next door, if that boy spent lots of time alone in the basement. His distinct blend of darkish wholesomeness made him the perfect poster boy for director David Lynch, starring in Dune, Blue Velvet, and Twin Peaks. That cryptic TV series is back with perhaps his most famous role, Special Agent Dale Cooper. I sat down with Kyle Mclaughlin at the Monte-Carlo Television Festival with a Twin Peaks surprise of our own. Kyle Mclaughlin, hello.
How are you?
We've created our very own red room for you.
I can see that, Jeannie. Thank you very much. The curtains are on this side, though.
You're lucky,
Behind
though.
me, yeah.
I'm not going to make you start talking backwards just yet.
Thank goodness. I'm not very good at that.
Twin Peaks brought you a lot of success. You won a Golden Globe, got a couple of Emmy nominations, but 25 years is a long time. Did you think about Agent Cooper during all that time before David reached out to you again for the return?
I did. You know, Cooper has always stayed with me. I like to imagine that Twin Peaks as a universe has just continued to go along even when we weren't working on it for these past 25 years, and now we're just dipping back into it to see where we are. I love that character. And the opportunity to return to him was something that was always on my mind. But I never really spoke to David about it. You know, I always, when we'd see each other, I mean, I would maybe bring it up, but I never really anticipated that we would be able to return until just a few years ago. He told me.
And here we are now in our red room. What was
yes.
it like for you walking back on that set, on those sets?
It was a thrill. Just putting on the black suit, that was so much fun. Walking back, and I remember the first day I came in, I was on with the suit, I came in, and there was David Lynch in the director's chair, waiting for his actors to come and start working for the day. And there was just a big smile on his face, and we shook hands, and I said, here we go, you know, and it was almost as if no time had passed.
Agent Cooper is such kind of a soulful optimist, you could say. Are you like that in life?
I am. I'm pretty much the glass is half full kind of guy. He has boundless enthusiasm, though, which I don't have. But I'm pretty enthusiastic. I care. There's a lot of joy in my life. There's a lot of things I'm grateful for, and I think that translates into sort of a feeling of happiness.
David Lynch has talked about viewing this new Twin Peaks as viewing it more as a movie instead of a series of episodes. And it's interesting because not long ago, Twin Peaks was in Cannes, where it got a 5-minute standing ovation for showing those first 2 hours. What did that feel like? That
was exciting. That was an experience I'd never had before. Walking the red carpet with something that was actually going to be seen, going to be shown there as a film, even though it was television. And it was a first, I think, for the festival as well, to have something from the television world actually be screened. We were there because they were honoring David Lynch. It was obviously the 70th year of Cannes, and David Lynch has been sort of a favorite, I guess. So he was invited back, and he asked if I would like to go with him. So really, because of David, I had that experience. My wife and I were both there together, and it was something I'll never forget. Just stepping out of the car and there onto the red carpet and having the people there, and so appreciative. And the whole experience was kind of an out-of-body experience almost. You might even say you were doing television before it was cool to do television. I was doing television when it was black and white television. No, actually. How would you say it's evolved the most over the past 25 years? Well, you're right, it has evolved. And I think with, maybe starting, we always take credit for Twin Peaks, of course, because we started everything back in the day. But really, I think the first thing that made the difference was having auteurs come to the television, to the small screen. So David Lynch was one of the first who came in bringing his sensibility and his cinema style to television. And from that, I think he opened the door to other creative beings like that who are able to make stuff that you're not necessarily going to see on television. So I think it really started with the creative elements. Other directors like David Chase, Steven Soderbergh, these people have come to television with their own particular vision and have changed the landscape.
What is that? What is that? What's going on? Bree, stop. You wouldn't
for another show you worked on, Desperate Housewives.
Yes.
When you think about that time and working on that show, did you feel like that was another precursor in a sort for the golden age of television we're living today?
I mean, it certainly was an inventive, interesting show. Mark Cherry, who created that, very interesting guy, very smart, and he'd put together such a great group of women for that cast. The dynamics between them, I think, were so interesting. And it was brilliantly written. And I was just, lucky to be a part of that, just one of the guys, so to speak, on the show, which I really just thoroughly enjoyed. It was fantastic.
We ready for the picture?
1 minute.
Trey, you don't have to.
No. This is important to you. I at least want to do this.
And also for many people of a certain generation, my generation, I admit, it's Trey from Sex and the City.
Yes.
What about that show? Why do you think that one, you seem to kind of tap into these shows that really strike these deep emotional chords. Is that just random or is it a choice?
I've been lucky, and again, I have to go back to the idea of Twin Peaks and the first time it was on the air and the impact that that made. And I am the beneficiary, I should say, of that, only because the creators that followed David Lynch, so guys like, Darren Star created Sex and the City, Mark Cherry, these guys were, I think, influenced by Twin Peaks. And there I am in the middle of Twin Peaks, so when they think of Twin Peaks, they think of me, and I think that's probably why they reached out and said, oh, we'd like, Kyle to join this cast as well. So Twin Peaks is the gift that keeps on giving for me.
Also, you've done a lot of film work, and I saw recently you voiced the dad in Inside Out, which I didn't know. Why the desire to do that?
Oh, I mean, who doesn't want to work in a Pixar animation film? So it was a no-brainer for me. I was just, I was very touched that they reached out to me to voice the dad, being a new dad myself, fairly new now. My son is 8 years old. And I thought, well, it's perfect timing, actually. So I can do all the things that I do when I talk to him. And it was, they couldn't have been a nicer group of people to work with, and so creative, and so committed to making something just really beautiful that, hopefully resonates with a lot of different people. It's a beautiful film.
I don't know where this disrespectful attitude came from. You want a piece of this, Pops?
Yeah, well, look.
Prepare the foot.
Keys to safety position. Ready to launch on your command, sir.
Just shut up!
Fire! That's it. Go to your room.
You seem very grounded. What do you do to share that with your child? It's got to be hard.
I just sort of treat him like a regular person, I lead by example as best I can. And we talk. I talk to him like he's just a pal, and try to explain to him some things, the rationale for some of the decisions that both my wife and I make. We're both pretty good about doing that. And he gets it.
Why this decision to create your own winery? What is it about wine that you love, which will speak particularly to our European viewers?
Good. It's a creative process, really, and I'm lucky enough to have grown up in an area where, even though when I was a little kid, there wasn't much wine happening. It has now become kind of a center for wine. Washington State, Eastern Washington in particular, the climate there is perfect for wine. So this is all developed in the past 30 years, really. And I just, I enjoy putting different tastes and elements and senses and flavors together in this blend. And I like sharing that with people. And I like creating something that has nothing to do with the business that I'm in. And it just sort of clears my head. It's a real departure.
Can you share why Pursued by Bear?
Pursued by Bear is Pursued by Bear is actually the most famous stage direction in all of Shakespeare, and maybe all of literature. Exit Pursued by a Bear occurs in Act 3, Scene 3 in The Winter's Tale, and I just love the idea of borrowing a little bit of that, just because it obviously harkens back to what I do as an actor. I love Shakespeare. And it was a little tongue-in-cheek. It was kind of funny because the actor is chased off stage and eaten by the bear. So there you go.
And you have done a lot of theater in your career as well. You were on Broadway as well not too long ago with Patrick Stewart. Yes. When you're out in the street, what do you get stopped for most? Television, theater?
Not so much theater, but television a lot, and Some film, you know, Blue Velvet, for example, is a film that people really responded to and sort of remind me about that. Sex and the City, obviously, when I'm in New York. So it sort of comes down to where I am geographically, actually. Desperate Housewives is also popular in Los Angeles. So there's a few, even How I Met Your Mother, which was a kind of a fun departure for me into the comedy world, and Portlandia, those kind of things also people really respond to, and they love the characters. They have a definite connection to the characters.
Kyle Mclaughlin, thank you so much.
It's nice to talk to you.